Marshal was in his 50s, yet was still to be found in the front line of battle, commanding contingents, sometimes even jumping into the fray. In May, William was sent to capture the fortress of Milly-sur-Terrain. The castle at Milly was well defended, with a dry moat, stout walls, and a steely-willed garrison. Nonetheless, William and John ordered a frontal assault, relying on the quick deployment of ceiling ladders and sheer weight of numbers to overwhelm Capetian resistance. As the first wave of knights rushed in, the French showered them with an incessant rain of arrows. Then, once the Angevins reached the battlements and began trying to ascend, the defenders unleashed volleys of crossbow bolts, dropped huge blocks of wood on their enemy, and used great forks and flails to swipe them off the walls. Even so, the onslaught continued apace. Marshal's contingent looked to be making good progress, surging up a pair of ladders, when a number of French warriors atop the parapet managed to shove one heavily laden ladder back off the wall. As it crashed to the ground, many knights were badly injured, and the Welshman Walter Scudamore broke his leg. Looking up, William realized that another knight from Flanders, Guy of La Bruyère, had crested the battlements only to find himself dangerously isolated, and when the French closed in, Guy was pinned down with spiked pikes. Marshal leapt forward and, charging at speed into the dry moat, he rushed full-armed as he was, sword in hand, up the other side. William mounted the remaining ladder, heaved himself over the wall, and began laying about him, dealing so many blows right and left with the sword that those inside fell back. This was a valorous act, and the sight of Marshal battling on the parapet seems to have inspired the Angevin and Flemish forces to renew their assault. But William had placed himself in a precarious position. At that moment, one of the leading members of the garrison, William of Monceau, rushed forward, running straight at the Marshal with the intention of doing all within his power to do him harm. Marshal's aging frame was feeling the strain, the hurried climb in armor having left him somewhat out of breath. But he was able to muster one mighty sword blow to Monceau's head. The strike cut straight through the Frenchman's helm and the mail coif below, piercing his flesh and stopping him in his tracks. Battered and stunned, he collapsed. Now more than a little unsteady on his feet, Marshal promptly sat on Monceau to hold him firm, while Angevin troops surged around him to seize the fortress.